Hello and thank you for joining us on this Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, federal government comes under attack as 24 states lose foreign direct investment. Unknown gunmen intensify violence in Southeast. Burn 7 police stations in Anambra and Imo states in 41 days. Burn Governor Soludo's home council secretariat and kill church guards. And on Journalist Hangout Weekend Special, NYSC partners inaugurate National Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurial Center in Kefi, Nasarawa State. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Gani Kairi Balogun. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. It's said that where there are no laws, there will be no transgression. Cross-dressing is about to be criminalized in our country. A bill to prescribe sanctions for cross-dressing in Nigeria has been read at the House of Representatives. The bill titled A Bill for an Act to Amend Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act 2023 to prohibit cross-dressing and other related matters is seeking amendments to the Principal Act. Babajide, I don't understand this bill. This is different from the 14 years homosexualism bill, the law that we have on ground. This is cross-dressing.
No, this is an amendment to the original law.
Okay.
Now, inserting this clause to prohibit cross-dressing. So it's not as if they are changing the law. The law is there.
Okay, already.
The law
did not envisage this cross-dressing before.
Yes, we are seeing more and more. We are seeing more and more people dressing like women. And the truth is, homosexuals sometimes imagine themselves
as women.
To be women. They dress like women, put on eyelashes, make up their faces like women. So now you can't say, oh, you are not gay, you are not homosexual, whereas you continue to dress. Every time you are seen, you are dressed like a woman, except when you are going to visit your father. That's the only time when you wear jala amia. So what they are trying to do now is to say, okay, let us be able to know those who truly are into this thing, because the law says that you will go to jail for 10 years if you register them. That's homosexuals. You register gay clubs. You register you register places where they can have their own clubs and all that, or do anything to encourage them. You go to jail for 10 years. So right now, they are trying to amend the law to bring in this issue of cross-dressing. So we will now know whether indeed you are homosexual or not, because when people dress like women, you cannot hold them accountable, or you can't by that simply say that they are gay. They can argue that this is just a path that they've chosen for themselves. But you don't have to appear like a woman, dress like a woman, put on lipstick like a woman, and all the mannerisms that have come to be associated with women or hookers. You now demonstrate it and still tell us that no, you are not gay. The law is what they are trying to do now is to insert this portion into that law to criminalize cross-dressing, so that once they see you are a cross-dresser, they assume that the law assumes that you are gay or you are homosexual, and the law, the prescription of the law will be visited on you.
DKB, now this thing is as crazy as you have somebody born a male and that person desire to be a woman, and that's imported from
you know where.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So from the West, now it's now gaining ground and traction in Nigeria.
I think that's the reason why this amendment is being brought up, because you may look at it as basically a one-off thing, an abnormality, if you will. But now you know how people and their things for copying things that they don't understand. You are quite correct. Cross-dressing is not a cultural thing to us. It is imported. And while we are importing things, you cannot separate that from the general impression of gayness, either lesbianism or the one for the male. So it's not only men dressing as women, actually. Even there are some women, they call them, I think, bulls or dykes, who are also homosexuals, but who dress, look, talk like a man. And you have to look quickly at their chest. And sometimes that will not even be a reflection to know that they are biological female. I think this law is basically to relate to that. It's not only for men dressing as women. Even some women now are dressing as men. And we have to quickly do what we have to do so that there will be no loophole when the application of the principal law is being applied across the board.
Jide, some of them that were caught in this web, one particularly actually went online to say, look, okay, you're about to prescribe this, prescribe that. How would that affect the price of pepper? How would that affect the economy? How would that affect this? How would that give us good roads? The person was like, man, we've misplaced our priority in this country. That is not a priority.
It's a very foolish person. A man sleeping with his daughter, does it affect the price of gold? Does it affect the price of bread? Of course it does not. But it's such an immoral thing, and it's not something that in any part of the world you want to encourage. Incest. The religious books forbid incest. And a lot of the moral codes that have come to that subsist even in the advanced countries of the world, where people do not necessarily go to church or go to mosque like the rest of us in the third world. Incest, sleeping with one's daughter, is not allowed anywhere. Whether it affects the price of commodities or not, it's not every law that is geared to boost the economy. That is where you see the silliness of the apparent aridity of the brain of the person who is saying, how does it affect the price of sugar, price of this? No, not all laws will affect, not all crimes when committed will affect the prices of commodities. If I kill someone now within the premises of TVC, it won't affect the prices of things. But that is anarchy. That is anarchy that we are trying to avoid. If everyone begins to pluck other people's eyes, begins to behead people, are we going to have a country to live in? So people should not limit every act or every attempt to give us the right laws. People should not simply apply, begin to correlate it with the prices of goods and services. It's senseless to think that way.
All right. Moving on now. A stitch in time, they say, it saves 9. The Foreign Affairs Minister of Ukraine, Dmytro Kuleba, said the beleaguered country expected NATO members to send weapons it needs before it is too late. He insisted that they have to act quickly as Russia readies another major offensive. Meanwhile, the United Nations General Assembly has suspended Russia from the UN Human Rights Council over reports of gross and systematic violation and abuse of human rights in Ukraine. Jide, what is the significance of this? We know that Russia is a member of the United Nations Security Council, and presently they are even they have a veto. Yeah, they are sharing that particular position. So, what is this significance of suspending them from the Human Rights Council?
I think that basically when some mass graves were uncovered in Ukraine, people began to look in the direction of Russia, that it must be the Russian troops that have occupied that area. Don't forget that in the bombing that the Russians have been carrying out in Ukraine, schools, maternities, even malls, civilian areas, residential areas have been leveled. So if you are attacking hospitals, schools, food stores, and even a nuclear power plant, naturally those places should not be attacked in the case of war. People are increasingly seeing this war as taking more civilian lives than even the lives of servicemen. And the investigation of the mass grave is still on. The Chinese, who are believed by their actions to be supporting Russia, although they are claiming that they are sitting in the middle. They have been saying, no, we don't want war, but they've not condemned the invasion. You know, you can say you don't want war, but they are saying that NATO caused the invasion in the first place. You know, the Chinese have their issues with NATO, because in 1999, NATO bombed the Chinese embassy in Belgrade. They have not forgiven NATO for that. So they have their issues. They are not overwhelmingly supporting Russia. They are trying to stay in the middle by saying, look, we want people to have access to humanitarian support. We don't want the war, but they are not coming out to condemn Russia for going to war with Ukraine. Now the Chinese are saying, let them investigate these mass graves fully, so that we know who indeed is responsible. In their view, it's possible that the Ukrainians killed their own people, but you and I know that that is unlikely. We've seen videos of hospitals, we've seen videos, even a kindergarten school, you know, that was attacked
train stations
with a missile. Yes, even train stations. So that's why some of us say, look, war is not desirable, because at the end of the day, somebody will tell you the US bombed a milk production company in Iraq during the first Gulf War. Somebody will tell you that this is a chemical weapons plant. By the time you bomb it and you do your survey afterwards, you discover that it's actually a milk factory. So that is why war is not desirable. But the way it's going, the way the Americans, the Australians, and the Britons are sending weapons to Ukraine, the war is going to last a lot longer, because
to strengthen.
Yes, of course. You need to see some videos in which Russian aircraft are being shot down. Russia has not achieved its aim, because it thought it would be a very quick. We are now about 2 months into the war, and they've not been able to capture any of the 10 biggest cities in Ukraine. So they now have to
getting support from the international community.
Because those missiles, there's a missile that's called Javelin. The Javelin is being used to take out Russian tanks. So once they sight a long column of Russian tanks, they fire those missiles. They disrupt the column. Once the column is disrupted, they become immobile. They won't be able to move in. And they are also using Stinger missiles. The Russians are saying, look, this Stinger missile is shoulder launched. That in the end, it will fall into the hands of terrorists and other undesirable elements, including criminals. That you are arming these people. When the war ends, it will become a big problem. So I just hope that this Russia and Ukraine will find a way to sort this thing out, so that the sufferings of the civilians will come to an end.
Now, when you look at the humanitarian crisis, in terms of the number of people that have even moved out of Ukraine right now, going to Poland, going to some other countries around, across the world, and you don't see we now have only men that want to wait, that are determined to defend their land and everything. But the man Putin seems not to be moved.
Well, you have to put it in perspective, really. This is war by proxy, basically. The West, they do not want to go into the war physically. So they are using Ukraine basically as a testing ground for some of these new technologies.
New weapons.
When it's coming in, and they are using it very effectively. So you can say they are very callous in that regard. But we all know that there will be casualties of war. And I'm sure Russia too expected there will be some resistance. Not to the level that they got, obviously. But when they started, Putin promised that this would be like the Israeli-Arab war, that it will be over in a week.
The 8 day or 6 day war.
Now it's going to 3 months, and they are nowhere near Kiev, which is the price target of this war. And about those people living in Ukraine, of course, you and I know that until recently, Ukrainians are the major force when it comes to certain jobs in parts of Europe, especially the UK and France. And because of the new immigration law, they have to leave UK and go back home. So they simply opening the door for skilled labor needed in other European countries to drive out of Ukraine to other countries as well. I think what we need to understand is the fact that this will not shake Russia's resolve in whatever they want to achieve. It will make things harder. And it's horrible in anything that we look at it.
People's homes destroyed.
And I don't think we need to worry ourselves too much about the outcome. We should worry about people dying, children dying, and why, for God's sake, should a war power like Russia decide that targeting civilian targets is the best way to go when you know the areas to attack in the countries you are invading.
You know the troop concentrations, you know the army bases. Those are the places to go to.
You know the places to attack.
Yes. The number of years that it take to build this.
Of course. It will take decades. And you know, a country of 50 million people, it's not going to be easy to invade. You see, sometimes bullies take action only to regret it. China at a point thought it could just simply overrun Vietnam. It had to live in disgrace.
And Afghanistan.
Yes. Russia went to Afghanistan.
They lost.
It was disgraced. Russia was disgraced by Japan in 1939. So Russia doesn't always have its way, but the man Putin is bent on achieving his goal of bringing Ukraine to its knees. But one thing I'm impressed about is the resolve of the average Ukrainian. Look at those boxers. Those two Klitschko brothers, they are at home, they are fighting. They say, we are going nowhere, this is our land. If you have tasted freedom before, I look at the Nigerians who are saying that why doesn't Zelensky just surrender? Nobody will surrender. Algeria refused to surrender to France. And in the end, Charles de Gaulle had to leave Algeria in disgrace. People need to read the histories of wars. And if the resolve is strong.
Don't forget his brother Mussolini.
Yes, Benito Mussolini. Yes. Ethiopia refused to be conquered. People need, you can fight a bully to a standstill. It's their country they want. If you have tasted freedom before, you know that you must defend freedom with all you've got. To say that, oh, it should just simply surrender, you know, no. Who will do that?
The men there, they are not going anywhere.
They are not.
They've left their wife and children.
They're giving it everything that they've got.
They are staying behind.
They're giving it everything.
Defend their land.
The only reason, in my view, that it was easy for the Americans to have their way in Iraq was because of the division. You know, Saddam came from a minority tribe.
Okay.
The Sunni, they are just about 25% of the population. The Shiite are an overwhelming majority. So already the country was divided. And that was why the Americans were using even Shiite militia to fight against the regime so as to bring Saddam down. So in a country where you don't have such clear division, you can't cannibalize the people, you can't divide them. it will be a difficult thing for you to simply overrun them. That's what China is discovering. Their spokesman came out to say that we have lost so many fighters, and they've indeed lost generals, about 6 generals or so at the last count in this war.
Okay, moving on now. When will enough be enough regarding the rising insecurity in Kaduna State, as the situation imputing many people and groups on edge? Pastors and Interfaith Alliance in Kaduna State staged a peaceful protest over the incessant attacks and killings of people by terrorists across the state. The convener of the group, Reverend Emmanuel Adebayo, lamented the sufferings of victims of banditry, praying for God to help them overcome the psychological trauma they passed through. GKB, Kaduna is not easy at all.
It is not, and this is just the latest step in the war that started between northern and southern Kaduna, and when people started attacking southern Kaduna villages. This is a classical example of what we've read. You know that quotation, that when they came for something,
yes,
I didn't do anything because
I was not.
When they came for the plumbers, I didn't do anything because I'm not a plumber. Now they are coming for journalists. And then, so that's really what's happening in Kaduna. This thing started a long time ago, and they were warned that sooner or later, these bandits or these people that you are using for ethnic cleansing will turn around and become a bone on your truth. Now they have a bone in their throat that they cannot remove. And every move to solve it is failing. That's why prayer seems to be the next logical thing to happen. Because if you've done everything you can do, then you turn to God.
I think they need prayer in Kaduna State, because
they need more than prayers. They need more than prayers. People have been asking, why Kaduna? Why Kaduna? Kaduna doesn't get attacked more than Zamfara gets attacked. Zamfara is the epicenter. Zamfara experiences more attacks than Kaduna. But people are asking me, why Kaduna? Kaduna does not get attacked by these people more than Zamfara. Katsina too gets attacked regularly. But a lot of those are not reported. There are more media houses in Kaduna than any state of the far north.
So we have bureaus.
They have bureaus there. And don't forget, it is closer to Abuja.
Yes.
So, and the bureau headquarters are largely in Abuja. So they can easily deploy people. Most of the things, I remember even when we were younger as journalists, once you establish a bureau in Lagos, the next place you are thinking of is Kaduna. Because from there you can then report the whole of northern Nigeria. So it's not as if Kaduna is experiencing far more attacks than other places. No. I know that in Zamfara, if they were to do a survey, more people get killed in Zamfara. Yes, if they were keeping record the way the Kaduna people keep record, more people get killed in Zamfara than Kaduna State, by far. I'm sure of that. So, but it still doesn't stop us from taking the right steps. Kaduna has to be protected. The methods are not working. The governor is calling for carpet bombing in this modern age. There won't be carpet bombing. It should banish that thought. Nobody, those forests are not even, it's not easy to simply go and do carpet bombing in forests.
The federal government, they're even coming out to say that, look, these people, they've used human and
they are living with people.
Shields.
No, there are communities where they are and people are there. They go to your market, they see the people see their market days, they come, they buy their thing. Some of them even have the audacity to even attend Jumat prayers. Some of these bandit leaders, they attend Jumat prayers with the people and go back freely. So what are we talking about? So we cannot simply go and be bombing. Some of these bombs, we don't make those bombs. Those bombs that the airplanes carry, we don't make them here. Some of them cost up to 8,000 euros, just one. Wow. So it's even expensive business, just dropping bombs. There is no war. Putin is discovering it. There is no war that you win without your surface troops. When you finish all the bombing, use all your missiles.
The infantry guys.
The surface troops, the infantry guys must move in. They move in and take that position, take that territory. If we don't do that, they will keep regrouping, because after you drop the bomb and they've escaped, they will come back to that same area, except if this area is not of value to them. They will come back. So what do you do?
There's something strategic about that.
If it offers them access even to weapons and all that, they will say that's what Boko Haram does even in Borno North. People are wondering, why are they active in Borno North? But it's an area through which they can receive weapons from the black market from Niger Republic
and Lake Chad.
And the Lake Chad Islands. So they will rather remain there. We'll bomb them today, they will be patient, they will still come back.
Free access.
One general was telling me, he said, Jide, see, in the northeast, there are some communities that we have captured 4 times. You capture it, they come back. Because you don't have enough troops to put there permanently.
To hold
they know that you will soon go.
Yes.
So they will just wait. When you go, they go back, they regroup, they mass up sufficiently there. You then feel a need, because of the threat that they constitute, you feel a need to go back there. You kill them again, you hold the place. After a while you leave, they come back. Because we don't have enough troops, we are now forced to relocate some troops when we think that an area is now safe. We relocate them to trouble areas. That by that time, the enemy comes back and take his former location. So that is what we are going through. Let the strategy change. Let's be more aggressive against these guys. It's not just simply bombing. We have to put the boots on ground.
DKB, what we notice here is that at the end of the day, when we still have this persistent killings, the activity in spite of the military campaign and everything, and after some time they will come back there, they will still abduct people, and most of the villagers, they are suffering in silence. They can't. It's the people that can come for rallies and everything that we are hearing now, but there are some areas that they even live with these bandits.
No, they've been living with the bandits for years. It's not really news. You don't forget that there was a time that bandits are controlling a large chunk of areas in some states. And like Gideon said, you have to look at it from 2 levels. One, are they part and parcel of the society of that particular area? Do they play any role in that particular area? Once you establish that, then because we cannot hold territories. It is unfortunate. We have the biggest time in West Africa, and we cannot even hold our own territories. All over the world, people build big armies because they are big countries. But the Nigerian police do not have enough manpower to do internal security. The Nigerian army do not have enough manpower to supplement what they are doing. And we keep going around in circles and coming back to the same spot. We've been doing this for close to 12, 15 years, and nothing seems to be working. Something must give. My advice is very clear. Whatever you are doing that is not working, try another way. Because the way it's going, the people who are suffering are not the governors of this world. It's not their immediate family that are suffering. It's the poor farmer, the poor hunter, people in the villages who have to go through the trauma of this hellish existence. And then somebody will come and grandstand. I wish we spend more time trying to save our people than trying to be popular. That's my take.
It appears wanton killings and abductions across Nigeria is taking a toll on investment in the country. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, 24 states did not record foreign investment in 2021, while the country generated a total of $698.7 million from foreign direct investment in the same year. Many groups like the Catholic Bishops Conference of Nigeria, the Jumatu Nazir Islam, led by Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sahad Abubakar, some state governments and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, have criticized the federal government over its failures to address rising insecurity in the country. This is linked, but what we're looking at, according to MBS, MBS is saying that 24 states did not record, out of 36 states, did not record foreign investment in 2021.
10 out of 24 states. 10 states: Bayelsa, Ebonyi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kebbi, Kogi, Plateau, Taraba, Yobe, Zamfara. Now look at some of these states. You can you yourself can guess why it's going to be difficult to attract investment. People want places that are safe.
Very safe.
They want to be sure that their investments are safe. Even companies, foreign companies resident in Nigeria, they are constantly doing survey.
Yes.
They want to know
security
places where they can invest. Are some places no-go areas? You can imagine if MTN were to go and build base stations in some parts of Border North. The following day, those bad boys will come and set the place ablaze. And you know, when you set up a base station, you are putting a giant generator, and your telco mast is there. So they can just go to destroy things. Perhaps even your tanker that bears diesel, will also be there, because you need diesel to fuel those generators. They will come destroy everything. Nobody wants to go into such investment in such places. You have to be sure that this area
is safe. You're using generator, that fact is it makes it more expensive.
Yes.
Not to talk about security again.
These people coming to destroy everything. It's just, and every nation needs this foreign direct investment. Look at when Nigeria was in some form of prosperity, the 2012-2013, look at the figures show clearly that we were doing very well. We are doing very well. But today, things have been declining. In fact, since 2016, it has been declining.
Shocker.
It has been declining. And a lot of the factors are evident. The issue of insecurity, if we do not address insecurity, there is no way that Nigeria will prosper, because you need, even this manufacturer association of Nigeria, a lot of them have shut down because of the issue of insecurity and all that. Everything. Now, even access to dollars, access to foreign exchange is a big problem. Some of them have to source their dollars from the black market, and that is killing. We all know the most accessible. That's killing. Sometimes they can't even get it. So how can businesses thrive in such a situation?
US 600.
Remember when we had this issue with British Airways, that they were wondering why it was cheaper for people to fly from Ghana than Nigeria
to London.
And those guys said, see, your own exchange rate has so much volatility. In the case of the Ghanaians, we can be sure the exchange rate is stable.
Very stable.
The South Africans, the exchange rate is stable. It's been stable for many years. Yes, it's been stable. 6.9 to the naira, to the dollar, very stable. In our own case,
so consistent.
This in the last 6 months, we've seen that volatility. No one is sure. I think yesterday it exchanged for 580. 580. Even in our
last week.
Yes, there were it got to 590 at a point.
As the last week.
If someone told you a few years back that it will get to 590, you will have argued. Yes. But there are people who are projected that, okay, this thing could get to 600 this year. There are some companies that have that projection. Yes, but it doesn't allow for planning. Government has to make the business environment conducive. Investors don't like that volatility. They want to be able to plan.
even the United States and the British embassy, sometimes they give travel advisory to their citizens and they list all the states.
Yeah.
And it's difficult that when even governors, when they go abroad, they are seeking investors, they are doing everything. But if we don't have adequate security,
those are
infrastructure can.
Those are jamborees actually, because like the former governor in Lagos said, just do your job, the investment will come. Because normally they will have the data. What's the ratio of credit that they can get? What's the stability of the naira? Like, I'm sure they will remember that for about 7-8 years, we were exchanging the dollar on the precipice of 200 naira, 190 to 210. I think from 2010 to around 2014-15, when the slide down was. That was the period we were quoting, that the investments were coming in. Because the naira at that point in time was extremely stable. You can work within the range of 10 naira.
It was 560.
So it's basically the failure of government to secure us. Government programs, let me use that, economic programs in the last few years.
People also find it difficult to repatriate even
and then you can get your money out. Why you bring your money?
You know, see, they can't repatriate their investment.
There was a time.
You make gains, you can't repatriate your gains in dollars. It's something that they don't like. Foreign airlines are complaining.
Not only foreign airlines. You and I know that there was a time you can use ATM or starting banks in Nigeria, abroad. Because it's been dollarized. Try that now. Just one transaction will take away. We wipe up your life savings.
$70 a whole month.
It will wipe you out of your life savings. Things are that bad. People cannot send their children to school because they cannot afford the fees. Even those who think you think they are very comfortable are now struggling to pay school fees of children abroad. And all this is failure or lack of planning that are basic. Because if our schools are working, there will be no need unless you just want to show off to send your children abroad. And once you have no choice to send them, even as low level as Republic of Benin, are taking Nigerian money for schools.
Whereas people used to come to our
Nigeria.
country, you know, some of
South Africans came to UI.
Those what they call frontline states. A lot of their people came to even ABU.
Yeah,
ABU here. You know, a lot of their
people
it's
a systemic
went to school here. Yeah. You know, so but now. Who would want to even try that? It's so we just got to do a lot more.
The pressure on the dollar or the naira is too much.
All right. So joining us via Zoom for more discussion on this and economics, Adedoyin Ademola. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Mr. Ademola.
Baba, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm not an economist. I'm a reporter like you. I'm a journalist.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, looking at this report from the National Bureau for Statistics saying that 10 out of 24 states they don't have a record of foreign investment in 2021. What do you make of it?
Well, it shows vividly the sorry state of our country, the sorry state of our the economic situation we are confronted with is a very, very serious one. As a matter of fact, when you look at what we have recorded since 2015, the foreign direct investment, between 2015 and now, we probably will be talking of about just 7.1 billion US dollars. Yeah. Whereas our neighbor, our small neighbor, Ghana could be talking of close to they'll be talking of close to $30 billion. Sorry, $19 billion. 19, where we are talking of 17. This 2021, while we are talking of 630 something million dollars, Ghana is looking at $3 billion. That is what they are looking at. Last 2020, Ghana has the highest in West Africa. You know, based on $2.6 billion. Now, what that is telling you is that we have some fundamental issues. You've spoken about the insecurity we have in the country is getting very, very serious. Between 2012 and 2014, we were talking of a situation where we were doing like 2-something billion on an annual basis. Okay, since 2015, it's been something below 1.9, 1.7, and it has gone so down that this year we are talking of even 680 the lowest in the last 10 years. So that will tell you it is a very, very serious situation. Now you are combining insecurity with the situation we have in the power sector, where you are talking of consistent declining power failure. So when you don't have when you cannot have affordable and reliable power, and that is also compounded by the fact that your foreign exchange policy is unstable and naira continues to decline. So it is not a place, it's not an ambience for foreign direct investment. So, and you see, the problem is further made more worrisome when you put the fact into consideration that the IOCs are divesting from our country. Yeah. So you are talking of a situation where FDI is dwindling seriously, and it's compounded by the fact of divestment by IOCs and other investors. So it is a recipe for grave economic crisis, and that is what we are confronted with.
So what can we do? What can we do? As in, how can we solve this problem?
Yeah. You see, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. We have spoken about tackling the issue of security head-on. We've spoken about that, and I mean, it's in the public domain that the situation today. I mean, we give credit to our force, to our soldiers, to our officers. They are trying, but we need to evolve a policy that will confront this security issue head-on. Babajide just spoke about Nasir El-Rufai, Governor Nasir El-Rufai, talking about carpet bombing. The guy is talking out of frustration. The government is frustrated. Yes. So the point is that when Super Tucano came, some of us thought that now that you said that these guys are no longer bandits, that they are terrorists. We had expected some actions. We had expected that you take the battle to their zone. But what we continue to see is that we are reactive. We are not proactive. So the problem of security needs to be frontally tackled before we can be talking of really sorting this problem. When you don't have a secure environment, no investor will bring his money. No investor will come and invest in any enterprise in Nigeria. Then secondly, when you have a situation where in the last 30 years, we have been talking about power. Every government that comes promises that, okay, we are going to tackle this, and it continues. You know what we have been experiencing in the last 6 months in this country. That is not an interest investors will come to. So the government must put in place some short-term, medium-term, and long-term measures that will bring back the confidence of investors for them. This is when you talk of that we have very large markets in Nigeria. I tell people I dispute it, because I also tell you large in what area. You are talking of 200 million people, where you have over 20 to 30 million people, students, pupils out of school. You are talking of poverty ridden hundreds of millions of people. You are talking of people who are not educated, who have not gone to school. You are talking of people who are not qualified to even be employed. So what are the goods and services you want to bring here that will even make a lot of profit to the investor? So it is a very, very serious problem that needs to be tackled fundamentally. Education, we need to tackle it. Security, we need to tackle it. We need consistent policy in the area of foreign exchange. And we need to tackle the issue of power. Not just that power is not available, it's not affordable. So how do you now invest in such an environment? So the government, what I'm saying in essence, is that the government will have to tackle security. The government will have to evolve policies that will make, if I'm not sure of what will become of value of naira tomorrow, how do you expect me to bring my investment down here? So these are policies that it should not be a knee-jerk thing. It should not be an ad hoc thing. There should be consistent policy that will give investors. Look at what we are facing in the oil sector today. We have a situation where it takes almost forever for the Petroleum Industry Act to be put in place. So a lot of investments have been lost. Today, what we are losing in that sector is monumental, apart from what is being stolen. So the point is, government needs to really go back to the drawing board. The Presidential Economic Advisory Board needs to go back to the drawing board and rework the economy of this country. That is my take.
That even takes us to the point you just raised now, the Economic Advisory Team or Council. Is it that they don't they don't hold meetings, or that their suggestions are not implemented, because we see some brilliant people on that team.
By now, we should have gotten results.
We see brilliant people.
Yeah, Babajide, I must say that I'm as surprised as you are when you have a team like Professor Doyin Salami, when you have people like Bismarck Rwani, and so on and so forth. What you would expect is that they should be on a weekly basis telling the government, telling Mr. President that this is the way out. But you see, I've always told people it was President Olusegun Obasanjo, while in power, who said that yours is to advise, mine is to reject or to accept it. So I wouldn't know if these pieces of advice are being given to the government. I wouldn't know if the government is complying. But because these are men who have made their marks in their different areas of economics and management, I would expect that it is that they are making a difference or the opt-out of the place. It is that they are making a difference or the opt-out of the place. Because what we are seeing now, since that body was put up, there was a lot of optimism. There was a lot of excitement when the team was constituted. We thought it was going to make a lot of difference, but by God, up to now, I cannot see the difference. So the point is that if they are making recommendations that are not being complied with, the advice that are not being heeded, then they should please get out of the place and say, we are no longer going to have our name soiled. Because we are not getting it right at all.
The power issue, let's talk about that for a bit. What really can we do about the power issue? Because I know that in some countries they treat the power as a national security issue. But in some other countries they allow small areas like Switzerland, there are some cantons that generate their own power. And I think the governor of Lagos about 20 years ago, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also tried to bring in PPP at a point that were resisted. Do we need to go the whole log, or we can come to a middle ground where government will control certain aspects and the private sector will come in? Because there was so much hope when they announced General Electric and Siemens coming in, but nothing has happened since that big announcement.
Well, Osiare, let me also say that you see, we are talking of we have different phases of what we are talking about. We are talking of generation, we are talking of transmission, we are talking of distribution.
Yeah.
And when you look at these three core areas, the first issue we are going to be talking about is that for generation, we are going to be talking of hydro, we are going to be talking of gas
or nuclear,
which we have in abundance. Have we really utilized this? Okay, so from generation, there is a lot of problem. Transmission is still effectively under the control of the federal government. Of course, me and you know that anything that is in the control of federal government when it comes to business, you know the way it is. Distribution, what you have had now is that you've handed over this distribution sector to Tiscos, and you had an agreement with them. You told them that they are going to be able to charge market reflective prices. It is there in what they sign black and white. But they got in there, these guys went to bank, borrowed money to be able to do what they are doing. You told them to borrow money. Now they got in there, you said no, they cannot borrow. I mean that they cannot charge
economic rates.
Yes. So if you are not saying that, so what I'm saying is that these three core areas are beset with a lot of issues, critical issues. So the issue is this. You just mentioned what Asiwaju Tinubu did while he was the governor. Now what we need to do here is that, in fact, we need to look at the status book in respect of the power sector in this country. You cannot have a situation where I will generate power and I need to take it to the national grid before it will not be distributed to all parts of the country. What we should be talking about today is let us decentralize. Let a reported local government be able to generate power if it can.
University campuses generate their own power.
Yes, if the university can generate power, let them generate. Let them do their transmission and distribute. So, to Chile, we need to look at laws. We need to look at what are the laws inhibiting investment in that sector. That is called to this matter. And when we have done that, while we are doing that, we also need to have a situation where I tell people today, these costs are the little boys of the industry. You don't have like this when you go to. But even when you generate, before you take it to transmission, you lost a lot of energy. Transmission is the equipment. What we have there is old, so you don't have them high up there. They lose a lot of energy before they even get to disco.
Okay, I'd like to thank you for your intervention, Mr. Adedoyin Ademola. Thank you for your intervention on this topic. Okay, we take this break now. When we come back, we talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's Journalist Hangout on Sunday. As the Southeast is gradually descending into chaotic land, the new man on the horizon, Governor Chukwuma Soludo, who is determined to restore normalcy in Anambra State, is already feeling the heat. Gunmen attack the headquarters of his home, Agwata local government area in Okulebia, and set it ablaze. They killed a church guard and another person in the process. The attack came barely 1 week after the headquarters of Inewi South local government area headquarters at Ukpo was similarly set ablaze. As the gunmen intensify violence in the region, they have burnt 7 police stations in Anambra and Imo State in 41 days. This is worrisome. I thought Governor Soludo is coming in and everything, that they will allow him to at least give people a chance. Grace, yeah. Now, the first thing I saw, the regular Monday sit at home, his intervention, he went to church, they prayed and everything. But lo and behold, last Monday, people still sat at home.
That's bound to happen when people, we said it here.
Yeah.
We said it here, that if the people do not get firm guarantees that their lives will not be in danger, they will sit at home. Soludo can't be issuing orders to people. People have the right to protect their lives. That is the biggest possession that you have. Your life is your biggest possession. You may have all the money in the world. If you don't have your life, how do you enjoy the money? So people have a right to do whatever it takes to protect their lives. And a governor cannot simply be issuing orders, threatening that, oh, if you don't go to work, this is what will happen. They will not listen. They will only listen when they are sure that their security is guaranteed. That if they step out of their houses to the malls, to markets, you know, to their business premises, to their schools, the banks and all that, that nothing will happen to them. And up till now, no governor in the Southeast has been able to give that firm guarantee to our people. The other day, the governor of Ebonyi too was issuing threats that, look, we are going to be fired. The Imo governor has issued threats in the past. Nobody will listen to him. That's someone that they even his own house
in his own town.
His own house was burnt. So if he couldn't stop his own house from being burnt, can the right-thinking civil servant, for example, think that his proclamation will guarantee his own security? That because the governor addressed people that from now on, if you don't go to work, you will lose your job. If you don't go to work on Mondays, this is no more sit at home. No. It's much more than that. You've got to move ahead to provide the security that is missing. I say security that is missing because just some hours ago, I was reading about an army checkpoint that these guys raided, killed soldiers, and then set ablaze a patrol van. So if people are running riots like that, and it doesn't appear like that we are capable of stopping the carnage, people will not come out. So Ludo can issue threats every day.
Till tomorrow morning.
The man in Ebonyi,
Yeah.
who says his own bridges are longer than weakest bridges. He can issue threats. They will not listen. Hope, Uzodinma can promise hope to people, but they will not listen if they cannot see firm guarantees that their lives will be protected if they go out. The moment that security is guaranteed, of course our people in the East, they want to make money, but they need to be alive to be able to make money. And if they have a choice between choosing life over money, of course they are going to choose life, because even when you make that money, when you make that money, you have to be alive to enjoy it. Otherwise, someone else will come and enjoy all what you have labored for. That musician, he sang one funny song like that. The beginning of the song is absolute lyrical emptiness, but there is still a bit of wisdom that he won't want somebody to come and take his place. When people die and they leave so much behind, someone else
will enjoy it,
takes their place and enjoy the fruits of their labor. That's what that boy sang. I don't want to mention
a lot of musicians have spoken in the same way.
But these ones, these young musicians, and they are funny.
They are empty rhetoric.
Yes, funny things that they put inside. It appears their own, all their life does not go beyond chuku chuku. Okay. You know, remember that song? That
I know the song you're talking about.
GKB, why is it that non-state actors, the people listen to them more than even governments in the southeast? The governors seem to have lost that legitimacy as government of the day. They cannot come together to tell people, look, this should stop, and people will listen again. The entire southeast.
Not only the entire southeast. Any set of people that have leaders who do not tune in into their needs will do the same thing. Because normally when you elect a leader, you are starting to be the congregation of your aspirations. It becomes the embodiment of everything you stand for as a people.
Just look at this.
But when you are talking about governors that have
local government
headquarters,
wastes.
In the last few days, they appear to even be stronger again.
Just wasting them.
And because that's what really
especially in Anambra State.
I know.
And everything else.
So what really gets me is this: the entire southeast, the entire landmass, is equivalent of Oyo State. That means from Port Harcourt, Port Harcourt as it starts, or whatever, to Onitsha Bridgehead, it's about 3 hours. Yet people run riots and do this stuff over such a small space, and you wonder where are the security people? What's really happening? Because they are not talking about places in the north where you can travel for 4 hours and not see anybody. It's extremely rare to travel in the east for more than 30 minutes and not come across a village.
So the boys, they use these Sienna buses. They've come to be known Sienna buses, yes. They just move around. I think this kind of, I think they operate more like robbery gangs. They can contact themselves. Let's converge at so place, and then they go. Their operations are usually short. They don't waste time. They've set ablaze the place, and then they have instilled fear in the hearts of the people, to the point that even when you see them, you know, in their Sienna, you have to just escape. This is what is happening. It's not even in the entire southeast that they are such a threat. It is Anambra State. Anambra.
Okay, we have this caller. Uche is calling us from Inewi. That's Anambra State.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Uche.
Uche.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Ayo.
Good afternoon.
Babajide.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Afiare.
Osiare.
GKB.
Okay, good afternoon. Yeah, this is Uche calling from Nnewi in Anambra.
Okay. What's happening?
Actually, on Friday, Nnamdi Kanu went to court.
Yes.
Okay.
And there was a sit at home on Friday. Even before that Friday, on Thursday, they came out on a broad daylight on Thursday, chasing people away and warning them never to come out the following day, being Friday. On a broad daylight, they came out. So what are we talking about?
Did you see them?
Now, just like Babajide is saying, you must have your life first before you think of having you think of wealth. Now, do you know that the police people, the police checkpoint in Nnewi, on Mondays, they go on sit at home. On Mondays.
Police, have you?
They don't come out on Mondays.
Security.
Police too are doing sit
Are you
at
hearing
home.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Pardon?
Uche.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, I said police people, they go for sit at home on Mondays. Police people with their guns.
Police, they do sit at home.
Yes, now, because on Thursdays to the weekend, you will see them coming out on that area command in Nnewi. You will see them coming out in Nnewi. I'm talking about Nnewi now. But on Mondays, you will not see them in front of that area command with their guns. They will sit at home. Now you can imagine if a policeman with his gun can sit at home on Monday. So what do you expect? So just like Babajide said, our governor, we pray that the people should go and advise him. All this threat that is issuing, nobody is going to listen to him because you have to have your life first. So I was discussing with a teacher. She said that they went and the governor was telling them to to go to work on Monday. The woman is a principal, so she was saying yes sir. Then after the man left, he told the other teachers, don't come out on Monday. All this one that this man is talking, don't listen to him because you must have life first before you talk about. So that is my take. We are in big ship. I just pray that the government, if I should advise them, let them release Nnamdi Kanu. If they release Nnamdi Kanu, then we will now know where our problem is coming from. I think.
That they have an anchor that they are using.
Yes. Something we didn't know before.
Okay.
Uche has told us that even the
security people that are meant to secure people.
Yes.
Because we alluded to that fact earlier that when people are not assured, so now we know officially
what it means is okay. On those days, those patrols will not happen.
Yes.
On those days, those checkpoints will not be there. So
they will not
what will give you the confidence
to come out? You
maybe are a transporter. What will give you the confidence to come out?
If you transport any military patrol anywhere,
people have made up their minds now to be going to be clearing their goods in other places. They take their to be opening their containers in other places. When they send the containers to the east, they take it to Cross River. Some will drop their containers in Delta, because when you go to Delta, as close as Asaba is to Onitsha, nothing of this sort is happening in Onitsha, in Asaba, and land is appreciating rapidly in Asaba because more and more people
move to Asaba.
There are even people who refuse to raise their children inside the Onitsha. They are going out because of the security. They are going. Their children are going to school.
Across the river.
Yes, I can't afford to be sitting at home every Monday.
Yes, it makes sense like that, and even their security is assured. So they would rather take that step to say, okay, let me relocate. In daytime, I can go and do business over there, but my family, let them stay in Asaba. So this is what happens. There are also some people who used to. There was a market in Onitsha that has been relocated, more or less. Some of our friends from the north moved to Asaba to set up the market there because of constant attack. Did you read about the case of a livestock market that was attacked this last weekend? They just killed about 40 cows. Okay,
let me take Andrew. Andrew is calling us from Akure in Ondo State. Thank you, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
Andrew, you have to step away from your monitor or you turn down the volume of your TV set.
Okay.
Okay, talk to us, Andrew.
Yes, sir.
What's your own view of what is going on?
In fact, my view on the issue of security. In fact, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is becoming to a point of reality. It really shows the impopularity of government, and it's that time is being checked. Because as in the case, when a governor will give order and there is no power backing it, imagine what the person called earlier before my call said. He said the security too, they observe it at home. That really shows the danger. And this thing, the federal government is not showing any concern. Gradually, it appears government in Nigeria is becoming unpopular. And it's high time they check and ensure security in this country. Security is the fundamental responsibility of the government. And it appears things are going this way. It's very unfortunate. The federal government needs to wake up.
All right. Thank you for your contribution. GKB, now the last caller, before the last caller,
I was talking about not just markets relocating. Now, if the livestock market, for example, that we had was attacked, how many people will have been affected? The losses, not this one, in the southeast.
Okay.
You know,
cow markets
are called Kara. You know how many people will have been affected? These are people's means of livelihood destroyed. Sometimes articulated vehicles moving goods are stopped and destroyed. This can't go on for too long because we are destroying lives. I was listening to Senator Abaribe the other day, pleading passionately that these people should stop, that they are destroying the economy of the Southeast. You know, they may not know the extent of the damage that they are causing. Yes, but he says, see, you are destroying, people are running away from the Southeast, going elsewhere to do business. Now, if you are coming, once it is, if you are bringing goods from other parts of the South or even from the North, once it is Monday, once you, on the eve of Monday, you have to stop wherever
you are.
Yeah, you stop.
The wait till after.
There. That wait will cause you to spend more money.
Yes.
Maybe you stay in an hotel and all that, you eat. So you have to stay because the alternative is dangerous. You will not only lose the vehicle and the goods, you may even lose your life. So that is why this whole thing, we've got to find a solution to this thing before it gets even worse.
Okay, I have Ade calling us from the United Kingdom. Thank you for joining us, Ade.
Okay, please, my greeting to everyone in the studio.
Thank you.
Please, Babajide, can you do us a favor?
Go ahead.
I want you to invite Gumi and ask Gumi such questions about his last visit now to this, because one of the person they went to the forest together was on Channel last week or so. I heard him saying, they visited about 8 bandit leaders, and they said they are fighting for the grievance of the Fulanis. The whole world had him. Can you invite Gumi so that he can say it, and we can know how to solve this problem? Because the way life is being terminated in Nigeria is becoming too unbearable. The Southeast own now can be solved tomorrow if they release Nnamdi Kanu. But the North, the rate people are dying in the North, or even unreported, is getting serious. Because this thing, nobody can say, at least me, in my lifetime, I never believe North can become like this. You see, I live in Kano, I know how these people live. So, life is sacrosanct. I don't know what, so if you can invite Gumi to tell us, and let the whole Nigeria know. His friend has told us and solved the problem, please.
A few months back,
a guest.
we brought him as one of our guests. There were people who were grumbling that why they do bring Gumi. Gumi is an enemy of the Nigerian state. Some people were very angry that we even gave him a chance to talk. But some of his utterances may not sit well with a good number of us, but no one can say that Gumi does not want the violence to end. You may not approve of his methods, but Gumi himself wants the violence to end. This violence, there are people, that's in the north, there are people known to Gumi, some of his own friends, his own people, had been affected by this violence. Not anybody can be a victim. If two can be a victim. So somebody who went to try to identify what the problems are, I think he too was trying to solve the problem in his own way. But many Nigerians think that some of the things that he's saying are uncalled for. I also don't think that the bandits in the north, I choose not to call them terrorists, and I will not call them terrorists. The bandits in the north, I refuse to agree that they are fighting for the Fulani. If they are saying that they took to a life of crime because they had been treated badly in the past, because some of them too used to be cattle rearers, they became victims of cattle rustling, victims of insecurity, and then when they now report to the police, the police would not take action. Some of them then decided that, okay, if we can't beat them, let's join them. But that does not mean that they are fighting for the Fulani people. They are not fighting for the Fulani people. They are not fighting for anybody. These are bandits. Is the money that they are after. Those who have kidnapped those train passengers, it is the money that they are after. If they are talking to the Nigerian government today, it is money, it is ransom that they will be talking about. They don't have any ideological bent
that they want to hold territory.
Yes, and when we say, okay, we call them bandits, I said it at that time that naming them terrorists is not the solution. The whole world can see now that it is the approach. If the approach is right, we will defeat banditry. But if the approach is wrong, whether you call them terrorists or not, you will not achieve your aim. It's even worse now that we are calling them terrorists.
Okay, I have Emeka on the line. Emmanuel. I have Emmanuel on the line. Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel. Turn down the volume of your TV sets.
Let's talk to you directly. Don't listen to the
Emmanuel.
I don't think he's there.
Hello? Emmanuel. All right, GKB. Somebody asked, the previous caller was talking about, releasing Nnamdi Kanu as a possible solution to this carnage and mayhem in the southeast. Do you agree with this school of thought?
Yeah, well, it's a fundamental demand of whatever they are asking for. And I'm sure it's take the wind out of their sails.
Don't you think this is beyond IPOB? What has befallen this?
And that's what we need to find out. I think the point was
cultists, hoodlums.
Of course, those will come in, but if you remove
the guys of ESN, IPOB.
If you remove the core reason, the nucleus of their demand, then all these things will show itself in due course. I may not agree with the fact that this will solve the problem, but it will go a long way in identify those who are really behind what is going on in the southeast. Because, like the principal said, because that one really got me, because it's very, for a principal to defy the governor, shows you the level of something that we've done. And it shows that, like we've said on this program many times, Yorubas will say, the man wants to close you. Look at what he's wearing. That's the Yoruba proverb. So if a governor cannot defend his own home, or if they can attack his country and his local government, what do you think any amount of that standing will let people risk their lives for such a person? To show leadership is not really about threatening people. It's about talking to them finding out what is going on, and then finding the solution. I think Mr. Soludo should take his time to listen to his people. He was given a mandate because he promised to be a difference.
I think it's by coming up with the Truth Commission. I think he's on the way to. Because I wanted to finding out the problem.
I wanted to ask you the same question I asked GKB. Is that likely the problem? The incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu would lead address
the incarceration? Definitely worsen things. But right now we now have cultists and other people enforcing the sit-at-home order. So I don't know how this problem can end, but I can never be against a political solution to this kind of problem, because I've seen where a political solution solved this kind of problems. Yes. Remember when the Nkata freedom movement in South Africa and the ANC, when they were killing themselves, it was embarrassing to the black race. Everywhere they saw one another, they murdered one another. They were just killing one another. So, but in the end, there was a political solution, and the whole killing stopped. You know, Butelezi's people at that time, Mangusuto, Butelezi's people, the whole. So it is possible for a political solution to help us to bring an end to the needless violence going on in the Southeast. Until we try it, we will not know whether it will ultimately
solve it.
Yes.
Emmanuel is calling us from Imo State. Thank you for calling us, Emmanuel.
Thank you very much, my brother.
All right,
go ahead, my friend, and the rest of you.
I agree to Ima.
I'm your friend, Ima. You remember when I called those early days of this sit at home?
Yes.
And I was
yes, from Imo State.
Well, yes,
give us updates.
Yes. It's sad that we have come to this level. It's so sad. As I speak to you, things are not getting better anyway, just like in the whole country. The issue for me is not the issue of sit at home or no sit at home. The proponents of this sit at home is where my worry comes from. Who all want to sit at home, they come back home. Come back from your high horse, where you're hiding in US or Finland or UK or South Africa or wherever. Let's all stand here and sit at home. You can't be enjoying your family out there, going to the mall. The economy is working in an organized society. But you need to come back here and see poverty. See poverty. A young man was, some of these, their sketch, was asking young girls, are you ready to sleep with me outside for 100,000? Some were willing. That's how desperate people are willing to eat. And the letter told them it's a sketch, you know, this kind of stuff. These guys are not just destroying economy. They have destroyed the economy of the Southeast. That even if you release Nnamdi Kanu, which are all hoping they're going to do, he himself, I'm not sure he's still in control of these guys. He don't raise a monster you cannot control tomorrow. Those who started this, I'm sure who raised this monster, combination of what happened in Owerri with the prison break and the rest of them, had combined to raise a monster. You know, to invoke a spirit is very easy. It's who we take it back. That's exactly what is happening now. The level of crime, the level of violence. You are talking about Tuesday and whatever. But my prayer is that words of reason will prevail. We still have not just elders. We still have people who can put heads together and speak to the conscience. People are very brilliant set of people. Forget about calling them traders. Raise minds. Some of these people that are doing these things are very deranged states among us. When you come out, you know, when you are doing something like three of you now, you have to, even if I say leave TVC, you are professionals, you can engage yourself. A deranged mind that has nothing to do, does not rest on anything that let all of us die through violence. They don't have anything to fall back than violence. That's why it's a very difficult thing. Sit at home. A banker cannot tell you sit at home. A medical doctor cannot tell you sit at home. These people that are telling you sit at home are jobless. So for them, every other person should be jobless. It's responsible to sit from Monday to Friday. And it's a very difficult situation. So it takes a lot to convince them. Even the so-called iPod at this stage can't get it going.
Ima?
So it's Yeah.
You were talking about somebody asking people to sleep with him in a skit. Did he eventually record that skit?
That, what do you call them? Resistance, they say it's a prank. That's what they usually say. They say it's a prank. He later told them it's a prank. I was watching it. But I was using that to paint the narrative of how desperate.
Okay, so it didn't
happen to take 10,000 naira, sleep with me outside.
Of course, people are willing to do anything to survive. Young men and women are hungry. There is hunger in the land. People are ready to do anything to get away from. That's why there's a lot of ritual. Come to some of the schools around here. You will see sacrifices along the street. There's a lot happening. You are talking about sleeping. When people are ready to submit a part of their body to make money. God help our nation and help this part of the region. I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you, Ima. Thank you, man. Thank you for, because
so unfortunate.
The way we are looking at it, the way it's going, even the new government, if might inherit this liability.
Definitely. So that one is a certainty. The incoming administration, the incoming federal administration, will inherit this problem, whether we like it or not. How it approaches solving the problem is
very key.
Is very, in fact, they've got to put on their thinking caps and find a solution, because we can't go on like this. Things are getting worse.
Nigeria is bleeding.
Things are getting worse. These guys are being financed by people from outside of our country, and the money that they are sending is causing all kinds of problems.
And GPB, you just, if you watch the internet, if you watch the space there, you find people in their comfort abroad. Yeah, they will be inciting people.
Look at the one who has just been jailed. Look at the one that has just been jailed. You know, there was a day we brought him his matter here. That how can you sit
in London and be inciting people? He's in jail now.
Telling us to kill one another.
Yes, he's in jail now. So we have so many Nigerians abroad.
Diasporans,
abusing the internet.
No, diasporans are really the cause of the problem we face. Not all of it. I'm talking about encouraging people to take up arms against the state. And those of us who are at the level that we are, when it comes to leadership of our people, will tell you that we have to move in quickly to really nip some of them in the bud, because they are making money and popularity out of the agitation in this part of the country, and they are becoming superstars, creating all manners of.
I think there was a time abusing area.
So we have to move it quickly. We have to move it quickly in the traditional way for them to really simmer down, because realize the fact that and that's what happened in the Southeast. Once there are no voice of reason on time, those charlatans will take over the vacuum created by lack of leadership. It's not rocket science. The Southeast is failing today because those who are elected to lead were not tapping into the anger of the people and looking for solutions to them. And that's why we are. They've tried it in the South, like I said. At our level, we have to move in quickly and stop that nonsense. Because there are some people living in Germany and all these countries who turn themselves to superstars by turning Yoruba leaders into toothpick that they can pick their teeth with. And until we moved against them quickly and stop that nonsense, and now you can see that the entire thing died down. That's leadership. Somebody somewhere, like the man who called said, there must be somebody in the East right now who can do that, who they can listen to. I'm sure my people will say children became kings when all elders are dead. Elders cannot all die now. There are still the elders in the Southeast that these people will listen to. And not things are there, and not things are bad. I know poverty has taken over the minds of the people, but there are still people, one or two people, maybe priests or whatever, bishops, people that they can still lead and save us from this mayhem. Or else, this will be the trigger that will destroy Nigeria.
And finally, for a critical agency like the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, constant reform is required to make it relevant to modern challenges. Every academic year, tertiary institutions across Nigeria churn out more than 600,000 graduates to fight for only a few jobs. The NYSC is bridging the gap by creating a self-reliance for young graduates through skill acquisition and entrepreneurial development. Recently, Babajide Kolade Otitoju was in Kefi, Nasarawa State, where the NYSC and partners inaugurated a National Skill Acquisition Entrepreneurship Center. Here is the story.
For the National Youth Service Corps, which places so much accent on providing corps members with training and mentoring in skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development for self-reliance. The inauguration of the NYSC Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Center, bakery, garment factory and water treatment facility at the Magaji Dan Yamusa NYSC Orientation Camp, Kefi, Nasarawa State, was of profound significance. The center is the product of NYSC's determination to promote public-private partnership for entrepreneurship development and self-reliance among Nigerian youths. One of Nigeria's biggest financial institutions, Access Bank and Capital Express Assurance Limited, partnered with NYSC to put the center together.
The giant of the continent of Africa. It will interest you that NYSC National Tour in 2017 proudly represented Nigeria far away in Russia at the World National Tour in 2017.
Kefi was agog to welcome the distinguished guests, including former Army Chief Lieutenant General Chukwu Buratai, former Interior Minister Lieutenant General Abdul Rahman Dambazau, All Progressives Congress National Chairman Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and traditional rulers to the ceremony. NYSC's Director of Ventures Management says the scheme is determined to contribute to food security and thank the 18th Director General of the Corps for making the dream possible.
On this premise, may I use this occasion to express our heartfelt gratitude to the Director General for this initiative, as well as other notable and concrete achievements the scheme has recorded since your assumption of leadership of the Corps. Sir, we are indeed grateful. On our part, we shall do our best to be focused and work towards delivery on our core mandate of training corps members and generating revenue for the NYSC.
Society of Nigeria.
In his welcome address, the Director General of the NYSC, Major General Shoaibu Ibrahim, said his goal had always been to reinvigorate the NYSC Ventures and the Skill Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Program in line with the NYSC Act for greater impact. He reeled out some of his achievements, including the enhancement of the NYSC farm settlements across the country.
On these ventures and other of our activities, we have been able to generate revenue to the tune of over 1.2 billion naira for 2020-2021. And this we will remit to the federal government. That was the first time in the history of the NYSC that we are doing that. And I can assure you that with all I've been telling my corps members, white-collar jobs are not really available anywhere. That skill acquisition is the key. And those of them that have taken advantage of this platform, they have excelled. And we urge them to learn from their colleagues that have excelled, those that are serving right now. And I'm happy to let you know that with this coming on board, you can see the joy in the faces of dignitaries that were here, including corps members, that is going to impact positively on our corps members and on the host communities. Those out-of-school children that will be roaming around here, corps members that are trained, are also going to train them so that they will empower them.
The NYSC DG, an associate professor of history, expressed appreciation to Access Bank and Capital Access Assurance Limited for their support to the NYSC. Traditional rulers at the event praised the NYSC DG for his passion to live an indelible mark.
Our son, we want to say to you, you have done us proud. You have done very well, excellently well. You have set a pace that anyone coming after you will have to work very hard to meet up with your feet in the national service. This country, I am sure, will remember your tenure as the Director General of the National Service.
My Major General, what you have done to us, we are happy because you have set the pace for everybody to come and learn from you. You have also fought seriously and you are still fighting the poverty in our community, in the state, and in the country in general. Thank you very much.
The national chairman of the APC described the initiative as most commendable, noting that as things stand in Nigeria, government cannot provide jobs for every school leaver.
It is hoped that over and above the acquisition of the skills, which is so critical because the government is not in a position today to give employment to every copper after graduating. It's just not there. When we are going to secondary school, by the time you finish secondary school, they're just waiting for you to come home and serve. It's not the same story today. If you are a graduate, you are like God sent in those days.
Governor of National State, Engineer Abdullah Sule, praised the management of the NYSC for redefining and reinvigorating the scheme and promised that his administration will continue to support the NYSC to achieve its aims.
I want to assure you that by the grace of God, we will not only patronize the products you are having here as a state, we will find ways to work together as a team. Because this is coming right on time. So you can imagine the skill that will be acquired from here. The people who are coming, to acquire the skills are likely going to get jobs and work just next door, right here. This is the unity we are talking about that General Gowon had in mind and our founding fathers had in mind. And this is the dream we all continue to carry. And I want to thank you for driving that dream. These projects like you have are totally in line with our vision for technical and vocational education, skill acquisition, and entrepreneurship.
The governor then proceeded to inaugurate the center, after which he toured the facility. An executive director at Access Bank, describes the NYSC as the true definition of national integration. He also speaks on their partnership with the NYSC and plans to build more skill acquisition centers for the scheme.
Anything that would drive development of youth, skills acquisition, and how to even nurture the youth so that each one of them can reach his highest potentials. That's what the bank is interested in. So right from time, for almost 10 years, we came to the NYSC ourselves and said, look, we want to partner you. We want to partner you because we have several products that will help youth. So we drive an entrepreneurship program called Accesspreneur. What we need to do as a country, in our view, is to have, as a bank, is to provide a template or a platform where youth can understand their skills, build those skills, nurture it with good, well-meaning individuals and corporates supporting them.
For now, the NYSC can only hope for more support from industrial giants in establishing more skill and entrepreneurship centers across the country. Babajide Kolade Titoju, TVC News, Kefi, Nasarawa State.
Now you know what Jide has been up to. When you've been asking me, where is Jide? Now that's from the Nasarawa NYC office in Nasarawa, Nasarawa State. Jide, so we are looking at the prospect of reducing that test for white collar job. I remember those days. If you ask us when we were in year 1, by the time we finish in year 4, if you ask us where do you want to be, I want to be in Shell, want to
work in a bank,
want to work in a bank and everything. Now we are faced with reality when we now came out from school and we discovered that we started writing aptitude tests, started running helter skelter, but very few people were looking at this direction.
Yes.
Now this is the future. This is the way to go. Nigeria government industries cannot employ people, absorb the number of people looking for white collar job again.
And everyone says that small and medium enterprises are the real engines of growth in any economy.
Those are facts.
Yes, so if they are the engines of growth, this is where it starts. All the government needs to do is to empower people, make the environment conducive for small and medium enterprises to grow.
This thing cannot survive in diesel, cannot survive with a generator.
If you had a water treatment plant, for example, like a 3-line water treatment plant that they have here in Kefi, what they have in Kefi is bigger than what they have in Abuja. You know, they have a water treatment plant there as well, but the one here is bigger because it's 3 lines.
Bottle water, to make sachet water,
yes,
to
and
make dispenser water.
Yes, all of them. I saw all of them. So if you want to do something like that, of course you need power supply. Power supply has been so erratic in the last few months. I don't think that we've had it this bad. Even those who used to boast that they are enjoying power, when you tell them that, look, the fact that in your own community you have light does not mean that it's across board. They too are feeling it.
It is everywhere.
Within a space of 3 weeks, we've had 2 system failures. You know, and beyond the system failures, electricity is not consistent. Coming at a time when diesel prices have gone up. The price of diesel has gone up.
And the weather is hot.
Yes.
You can't even afford to on your generator.
There was a video that people made in Motion. They were sleeping outside. Did you see the video? They were sleeping outside. Because where do you then sleep when there's no light? When they were sleeping outside the Motion, I said, these people should go to Kano or Maiduguri and see the definition of heat. Or go to Bauchi, the Jamari area, and see the definition of heat. Because what you have in Lagos is not heat in the real sense of the word. You know, for people, yes, for people who have experienced it in different areas, in fact, you will be happy to enjoy the heat in Lagos rather than
what it is.
So light is important, but what is more important is for these young school leavers to try their hands at other skills, so that if you don't get that white collar job quickly,
or don't even look at the side again. Don't
in fact, I saw a girl who said, see, I'm not going to work in a bank. If you give me a job in the bank, I don't need it. What I've been taught here. Do you know, I saw a core member in Abeokuta, because I was also in Abeokuta last week, who said, I'm beginning to make money from Adire right inside the camp. They taught them how to do Adire in the camp. And this boy was already selling Adire to fellow core members. So you can imagine what will happen when he steps out of the camp or after the service year, if he can set himself up, if he finds some money. So, which is why the NYC is asking for that law that would provide some seed money for core members who have been trained. Yes, it's still before the National Assembly. So that you immediately
to just start up.
Yes, as those of them who want to start this kind of businesses, you just give them some money to go and start those businesses. You know, so that is it. Is important. If NYSC gets it, it will be the biggest achievement that General
that's a way to wipe out employment. Unemployment.
Reduce it.
Reduce it. Oh, it can't be wiped out. It's 33%. It's a gradual thing. It's a gradual thing.
Because I know some people don't think you give to them, they will still be at the level they want to.
Yes, but GKB, if this has been introduced some 10, 15 years ago, we would have been talking about 33% unemployment rate.
I went to primary school some 50-something years ago, and one of the things we learned were crafts. We are given skills like this. I'm a trained carpenter, basically, because once you are in primary 3 to primary 6, you go to what they call.
It stopped at the point
that's the point I'm making. We destroyed things that we inherited to solve the problem that we are now facing. So that's why abnormalities have become normal, and that's the key to our development. Because if I'm talking about 70, 71, 72, people are being trained as 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds. That if you cannot make it, of course, that time we still sit exam to secondary school. Now they move everybody. So if you cannot make it to secondary school, you have a skill available for you to live by.
Okay.
And even if with that skill, you can go to what they call, they have a name for it. Technical school. Yeah, you can now
college.
You can now hold those skills.
Yes.
Until you are around 16, and then you become an employer of labor, which means that SMEs in some countries, SMEs employ I think 75%.
Yes.
If you employ 2 people, you get tax exemption. If you do 5, the percentages, of course, taxes you pay will go down. That's the way to build the economy. I commend the NYSC DG. It's better late than never. If this works across the board, then the problem of people being educated and roaming the streets, like I said, it can never totally wipe out unemployment. So people are born not to be employed.
Because
they have no skills whatsoever.
Went to Bells University, a private university, and then when he came out, we just discovered that he likes anything that has to do with fashion, art. And last week he just came and he started, as I went through his design, and I was like, wow. I had to tell him, okay, come and make some suits for me. So right now we are even seeing young men, young girls, they are going into this line.
Yes. And even some are going to hairdressing, even male corps members who are trained. Some of them are also these cosmetics, are going to cosmetology. They are making creams by themselves, lotions, you know. There are so many things. Some are being taught this metal fabrication, you know. And if you see the works that they presented in Abeokuta, what I saw, you are going to be surprised if they told you that it was a corps member that designed that shoe.
We have the opportunity to watch that.
Next Sunday. You see the shoe. I said, how can? And they were only taught for 10 days. You know, today's generation of students, they are brilliant. If they can just be a little bit more focused and leave this distraction of internet a little bit, honestly, they are too brilliant. Within a short time, I said, this shoe, when you mentioned bells, there was a boy that I met. The boy, all he wants now is just to go into farming. If they give that boy, in that same Ogun State, that boy is so excited, he wants to be a farmer. And he's already gone into fishery management.
Something is
right on the camp. You know,
that wasn't
if you see what
before now.
Yes, he wasn't doing it before, but now he wants it. You know, within during a service here, your whole orientation changes completely, and you are seeing life in another light.
So that don't rush into the labor market.
No, people, they are scared. You see, a lot of them are scared. They know that the jobs are not there. So even when you ask them that question, that, look, would you want to pursue this as a career? They are giving you a resounding yes. This was what I saw. Because they know, no, they are not even. There was one, they taught them in this cafe. When I went there the first time, they taught them this interior decoration. Wow, if you see what these girls produced. That girl said, see, I went to Unilag, I studied international relation, history and international relations. He said, I'm not going to take that one as a career, that this interior thing that all my life I had been looking for a way to learn it, that what I've been taught here, this is what I'll go.
Some of us weren't even opportune to learn this kind of thing from doing our NYC time. It was just...
And NYC can, with the number of this thing they have here, these machines, their garment factory, they can help produce uniforms. They can sew uniforms for the armed forces, the armed forces, and even NYC itself. You know, so there is no need. Government can give them contract to say, okay, since they have this, and the core member, people can produce. They are baking their own bread. They are producing their own water, and you see the water. So, no wonder under the DG, NYC for the first time in Nigerian history contributed money to the federation account.
Really?
Yes. Their own idea. Over $1 billion, I think 1.2 billion.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Doing these things.
From these little things, these things that you see, you think it's
farming,
bread baking and all that, they're making money. Water. They're making money.
It's amazing.
So you can imagine if they can expand this, they build more skill acquisition centers for them.
And
you can see even the capacity to make money will be greater, and then they will be able to train a lot more of these young people. You know?
Imagine 10 generations of our coppers trained.
Yes.
Imagine the influence we have on the economy down the line.
I think this should be encouraged. This should be encouraged, and people that get exemption, they will want to get exemption.
If some people knew that they could be trained like this way. One boy said, look, he was into graphic design. When he got to the NYSC orientation camp in Ogun State, you know, the camp in Ogun is the best in the country. Without a doubt. Brigadier Daniel really focused on that place, and God bless him where he is.
At Shagamu?
Yes, the best in the country. Even if you Google it, Google best NYSC orientation camp, Shagamu will come out. Without a doubt, you can try it. I saw it.
Kudos to
what Otumba Daniel did there is fantastic. It has to be praised. When people leave office, sometimes we don't value them.
Legacy,
what he has done there, oh my God, it's just fantastic. And then they were given a skill acquisition center by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay. Adefulere.
Equipped with more than 100 sewing machines and other things. So the coppers don't have any problem. Once they come in, they will get the training. Now, everyone wants to get that extra training so that you don't know what to fall back on in future.
Talking about the Fulori, I was at a primary school in Idimu. You will not believe it was a primary school. They had everything, fine buildings, football courts, basketball courts. And that is a primary school. That is a public primary school. Done by that woman under the federal
Sustainable Development.
It's at Idimu. The cabinet was there, was there with me. I couldn't believe we are the public primary school. I'm laying emphasis on it.
If it can be
public primary school.
Yes. No, that's how to make an impact. That's how to make an impact. When you see you have an opportunity and you are told these are the needs of these people, and you go ahead, you provide it, not for yourself, you provide it. Long after you are gone, people will remember. That's why we are talking about the NYSC camp in Shagamu. Fantastic place. At least
Bengadania has left office now for how many years?
Everyone is talking about it.
Just do what you can.
Posterity will be kind to you long after you've left office. Once you work for the people, that's the thing.
Nice one.
I saw it and I said, man, Bengadania did this. They say yes.
It's there. Nice one. I'm impressed. GKB. Thank you, Osiara.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Ramadan edition.
Ramadan edition. We are counting down.
Yeah, I like Ramadan. I'm wearing my own clothes again.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yes.
I
have to do other things.
Yes. Somebody walked up to me yesterday and told me that did anybody pulled Julia out of the program? I said no. That is not possible. But once in a while, we have to go outside to make great stories like the one.
It helps me a lot because my horizon gets widened, gets broadened. I see things that I didn't know was there. Nigerians will discover something in Ikene that a Nigerian is building. It's something about sports.
You've been there too again?
Yes. You would think that you are in Carrington in Manchester. In
a lot of people are bringing money
here.
Watch out.
People are bringing money into
Watch
sports
out. Watch out. And that's our offering on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program by 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight by 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow. God bless Nigeria.